And we're back, and terribly sorry about that. I don't know what's going on here, but anyway, we're having technical difficulties, and YouTube has changed the interface here on us, so we're trying to get it sorted out here, and we do apologize. Let's crank that up a little bit and turn that down a little bit. There we go. Save. Okay, we should be going here. We're ready to go. I do apologize. I do thank you for coming back to the live stream here. The interface on YouTube used to have a button, so what happened was I would connect my streaming software to YouTube, and then I would hit a button that would say go live, but now the button's gone for whatever reason, so this is what's causing the confusion here on YouTube. Corey's here. Hello, Corey. Thanks for that. And just going to turn this down here again. Sheldon, how are you, my friend? Francisco is here. Hello, my friend. And yeah, we're having problems with the coloring because usually I can fix all the coloring and everything else before I get on the live stream. Tyler, my Jetta never came with power steering or ABS and never noticed. Interesting. Yeah, now I'm looking white again. So here, we'll crank this up here a little bit. We're having challenges with all of this. DC is here. Hello, my friend. And we're talking about highway driving again tonight. The other thing that I would like to reiterate on this stream, it's easier to get your driver's license and pass your road test in the winter time. First and foremost, you get kudos from the driving examiners for taking your license in the winter time. Second and foremost, it's not as exact in the winter time to take your driving test because you don't have to stop at the correct stopping position at intersections. You just have to stop before the sidewalk, and if there's snowbanks and those types of things, then you creep out until you can see and then you proceed. Parallel parking, you don't have to get into the snowbank. You don't have to get 6 to 8 inches from the curb because driving examiners are not going to push you out of the snowbank. You just have to get in behind the car in front of you. That's all you need to do for the purposes of passing your driver's test in the winter time. As well, driving examiners are more relaxed in the winter time because they don't have as many driving tests. So therefore, they're not like one student after another, after another, after another without a break. So in the winter time, it's easier for them. So therefore, they're going to be more relaxed. There's probably going to be a little bit more discretion for you in terms of getting your driver's license in the winter time. I strongly encourage you to book your driver's test in the wintertime and do that. I was talking to Shrivas, who's one of my training partners at Jiu-Jitsu, and he said he didn't want to take his driver's test in the wintertime. And I was explaining to him, and it was kind of like the light bulb went on. He's like, oh, okay. So I do encourage you, if you have the opportunity to take your driver's test in the wintertime, take it in the wintertime. Ben, hello, my friend. Christine, quick question. In the beginning of the road test, what will they check for when inspecting your vehicle? Christine, they're going to check all the lights, signals, headlights are working, or the daylight running lights are working. They're going to make sure that your license plate is affixed to the vehicle. They're going to make sure that the stickers, the tags are up to date. They're going to go around the vehicle. They're going to check the brake lights. They're going to check the signals again. They're going to check the horn, and then of course they're going to check and make sure that the door works on the passenger side. They're going to get into the vehicle. The seat has to be secure. Seatbelt has to work, and the inside of the vehicle has to be clean, especially right now with COVID and whatnot, because they're not going to get in your vehicle if it's dirty. They're going to consider it unsafe working conditions. So you need to make sure that the inside of your vehicle is clean. Take all the garbage out of the footwells and those types of things. Yes. Hello, Goose. How are you? We're back on. I've had some technical difficulties. They've changed the interface on me here on the live stream. I don't know what happened there, but crazy. So that's what they've done. They changed the interface. There used to be a button. I used to connect my streaming software, and then there was a button to go live. And they've taken the button away. I just have a button now that says end stream. But anyway, it is what it is. Christine, you're most welcome. They might ask you for the registration and insurance for the vehicle too, but I really haven't seen them do that when they get in vehicles before. Mallory, hello, my friend. Ben, I had a mild case of COVID, but you're better now. Awesome. Richie, is a common fear for people to hesitate on merging onto a freeway? Yes, it is, Richie, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in tonight's presentation about merging onto highways and freeways and those kinds of things. So there is a lot of fear, there is a lot of anxiety, and hopefully some of the information that I will give you about that is going to reduce some of that fear and anxiety of merging onto highways and freeways. Bluffer, do you have the best tires for winter driving? So sometimes it is harder to drive in the snow. Is my excuse waiting till March? Okay, fair enough, Bluffer. Yes, if you don't have good tires on your vehicle, and you don't necessarily, I'm not completely convinced that winter tires are better than, say, just a good set of all-season tires on your vehicle. I mean, as long as you have good quality tires on your vehicle, I'm not going to say that winter tires aren't better. I'm never going to say that. But a good set of all-season tires is better than bald tires on your vehicle. So that's what I'm going to say. Ben said that they looked for insurance for him when they were doing the inspection, so they might ask you for that for your vehicle as well. So make sure that that's in the vehicle and that's up to date. You know where to find it in the glove box or wherever else you might keep it in the vehicle. All right. Tyler, on Highway 1 near 263 Street, there was a big pothole. How do you avoid it at high speeds? Tyler, you need to be looking farther down the road. You need to be kind of looking at the other traffic, because if there's a huge pothole and the other traffic is hitting that pothole, you can see the cars go up and down, or they'll be moving around the pothole. So have a look at other traffic and what they're doing, and that will sometimes alert you to the fact that there is a pothole on the roadway. Bluffer, more time to practice the route though. Lots of hills, don't want to mess up because the tires are bad. And Bluffer, I would suggest to you, you either find another vehicle or you put better tires on your vehicle for the purposes of the driver's test. Because if the driving examiner looks at the tires and they're bald and they're not that good, they may deny you your driver's test, because they could potentially deem that your vehicle is unfit. I know that I potentially would if I was getting in a vehicle with a driver and the tires were bald and that was questionable, or I got in the vehicle and the driver and it was slipping around, or those types of things. Yeah, I might say, no, you need to get this fixed. So you might want to think about taking another vehicle or whatnot. Corey's put up the video on potholes. Thanks for that. Samantha, I'm nervous to drive in Washington because of the rain. Any suggestions? Thank you. Samantha, just to clarify, you're talking about Washington, the state, not Washington, D.C., because you said the rain, so I'm suspecting it's Washington, the state. Ben, I'm getting my car this year. Awesome. Mallory, we got some snow here in the Maritimes Friday into Saturday. And my friend Tim is here with Drive Smart BC. Drive Smart BC, if you want to know anything about traffic safety, road closures, case law here in the province, anything about the issue of traffic safety, why they paint lines on the roadway the way they do, and all kinds of other issues, head over to Tim's website, Drive Smart BC as well. There's an excellent forum that you can participate in over there, so definitely check out that as well for more information in the province of British Columbia. Bluffer, another question, Rick. Do you know if they will refuse me to do my test if the back wiper does not work? No, that is not a safety issue, Bluffer, unless, you have your wing mirror, so that's not a safety issue. They're not going to deny you for road test for that. If it is raining, you need to obviously have the front windshield wipers need to be working, but no, the back is not it's not a safety issue on the vehicle. Okay, Samantha said, yes, it is Washington State. Samantha, there is a video here on the channel on driving in the rain, and that will help you out as well. The other thing is that make sure that you have good quality windshield wipers on your vehicle. Make sure you have your windshield washer fluid topped up. Corey will put the short up for you that I put up 2 days ago on how to top up the windshield washer fluid on your vehicle. Especially in the wintertime for all of us driving now with the snow melting, especially here in Western Canada. I don't know about other places, but I'm sure it's melting, and you get all that spray because the roads are wet and there's sand on the roads and salt and all that yuck and crap. So make sure that you have your windshield washer fluid topped up as well. Ensure that you use winter washer fluid on your vehicle, either minus 40 degrees Celsius or minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, because if you put water in the washer reservoir or you put summer washer fluid in, it'll freeze. And of course, we know that as water freezes, it expands. It's a plastic reservoir. It'll split that. And I've heard horror stories of some drivers costing them a few $100s to replace that washer reservoir because it split. So make sure that you use winter washer fluid when it gets below freezing in your vehicle there. Pearson, makes me wonder if slipping during the driving test will make you lose points or fail. The cars the school rents out here are fortunately new enough to have ABS and a stability control, but still good to know. Pearson, it depends how slippery it is. Even if you have good winter tires on, you could potentially slip a little bit because you accelerate a little bit too much or you brake a little bit too hard. Not necessarily. If you have the ability to get your foot off the brake or off the throttle and prevent it from slipping and sliding around, you're going to be okay. But those of us who have experience, and I think Goose and Tim would say the same thing to me, that if you have poor quality tires on your vehicle, they're either just worn out and shouldn't be driving around in the wintertime. You're going to know that pretty quickly on a vehicle if you get it out in snow and ice. And I can give you an example of that. A couple of years ago, I went and drove a Civic that I was looking to buy. And as soon as I got out of the driveway, out onto the roadway, and it was snow covered, and touched the throttle, the thing just started skidding all over the place. I was like, there's something going on here. So experienced drivers most of the time will be able to know if the tires are needing some work on them. Okay, so Ben says it's really cold in Minnesota, so you definitely want to have winter washer fluid in your vehicle. Jaden, my friend, how are you guys? I know you guys are not going to like this, but Florida just had 3 to 4 tornadoes touch down this morning, which is very unusual for the state of Florida. And if you are driving in those kinds of unusual circumstances in tornadoes or hurricanes or forest fires, those kinds of things that create high winds, then no, don't do it. Park your vehicle somewhere. It's the same thing as what happened in the state of Virginia, where they had the ice storm and all the cars are rolling around on the freeway and those types of things. Okay, one of the things that is not in our head when driving on highways and the weather gets bad and you know that the roads are completely covered in ice, sheer ice, stop. Just flippin' stop. Do you really need to risk your life to get to wherever you're going? Is it really that bad that you're going to risk having a crash, even though you know that the weather is absolutely terrible? Get off the road and stop. Or pull off the side of the road someplace safe and stop. I don't understand this. I see these crashes, these just huge numbers of crashes, and I think, do we really have to get someplace that bad that it's worth risking our lives? It just flabbergasts me. Anyway, Goose, yes, but California slicks are way more fun in the winter. Yeah, way to go. Awesome. Tyler, cops the other day were checking if people are on their phones, and one guy was caught on his, then he ran from the police. Yeah, that's never a good idea because you're not going to get very far. Alvin, I just wanted to say thanks for all your help. I passed my driver's test last year after learning from your videos. Awesome. Congratulations, Alvin. Thank you so much for stopping back and letting us know you passed your driver's test. Simply awesome. Okay. Danielle, how do I get better at switching lanes and learning to judge how much space I have? Daniel, Corey will put the video for you on changing lanes, but it's something that if you're not comfortable with it and you have some anxiety around it, then I always suggest that you go out with somebody that you trust that can help you do that and learn, because if you're with somebody else, it's a lot easier than just trying to figure it on your own. But definitely somebody that you trust, somebody that has some experience driving can go with you and certainly do that. And as Tim just says, a hotel is much less expensive than a crash. And, you know, on that note of what Tim just said, it's not just bad weather. It's not just tornadoes, forest fires, hurricanes, and those types of things. It's also fatigue. And perfect example of fatigue, I have a rental property which is 8-hour drive from here because I got to drive down, take the ferry across to Vancouver Island, and then my house is on Vancouver Island. 2-3 years ago, I drove down in the morning, did whatever I needed to do, and then I was driving back at night. And of course, it's like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've been up since 5 o'clock in the morning. So now, you know, it's very late. First hotel I saw, pulled off the road because I know I have enough experience driving professionally that when I get tired, I know that, you know, I have a very short period of time before I start having microsleeps. And just pulled off the road. First hotel I had, they're like, oh, the last room that we had, you know, I don't know whether that was true or not, but that's what she said. And it was $200. And basically, I slept from midnight until 6 o'clock in the morning. So basically, I stayed in the hotel for like 6 hours, cost me $200. But telling and relaying that story, it's not the $200. I'm still alive. And so are other people that may have risked their lives in and around my vehicle when I was coming home. So exactly what Tim said. If the weather is that bad, or not even the weather, or you're drinking, you know, your life, what is it worth? Drinking and driving. And we've talked about this before. If you get pulled over and charged with drink driving, your defense is going to cost you somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. So even if you're acquitted, even if you're found not guilty of drink driving, you're still going to spend $8,000 to $12,000 to hire a lawyer to get you off, to get you acquitted for drink driving. So you think $8,000 to $12,000. How cheap does a $200 cab ride seem? A $200 cab ride seems pretty cheap when you're thinking to yourself that you got to spend $8,000 to $12,000 to hire a lawyer to get you off or to fight your drink driving charge. So we're not just talking about bad weather, fatigue, driving in forest fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, those types of things. We're talking about overall driving. And is it really worth your life? Because I look at these things and I think to myself, it's crazy that I just see hundreds and hundreds of cars stranded on a highway that's covered in ice. Why are you even out there? So, but anyway, that's my thing. Christine, maybe off topic, but is doing bad at parallel parking an automatic fail. Christine, no, it's not an automatic fail so long as you don't bang the curb and push the back wheel up over the curb. You will lose some points, but you're not going to fail your driver's test for it. And even if you just get it in the slot and it's kind of crooked and you're not in the right place, just leave it there. If you know that parallel parking isn't your thing, just leave it there. Take the points and carry on and focus on doing the rest of your test well. Greg, I have a road test on Wednesday. Any tips? Greg, yes, remember to breathe. That will cause your body to relax. So focus on that. And I'll talk a little bit about that. I just want to get over to the presentation here and then I'll come back and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Just remind me to do that. Tyler, if you have a BMW, top up your winter blinker fluid. Funny. funny. There you go. All right, let's get over to the slideshow presentation talking about highways. And there's 2 skills that I'm going to give you that are going to improve your overall driving on the highways and make you a safer, smarter driver. Okay, for those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a long-haul truck driver in the 1990s, hauling freight between Ontario, Canada, and into the U.S. I ran most of the lower 48, mostly east of the Mississippi, but I did make it out to California, Arizona, and a few other places. I became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. I did do some driver rehabilitation as well, working with drivers that had lost limbs or had strokes and those types of things to teach them how to drive, and working with hand controls as well. 2006, I graduated from the University of Melbourne in Australia with a doctorate in legal history. That's the study of policing, courts, and prisons. And my expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic. While I was going to university at Melbourne, I drove buses for Greyhound and one of the regional bus lines there as well. And if you want to know more about me and the Smart Drive Test website, YouTube channel, You can find the description to the autobiography down in the link there. Okay. Last week's video was the 5th driving lesson with Willie, and there's a couple of errors that he made in the driving lesson that would have been considered automatic fails on a driving test. So definitely have a look at that if you're heading into a driver's test and you want some tips about things that you need to be doing and where you need to be observing and giving the right of way to other people. So really good video. Definitely have a look at that. Okay, first thing with highways is you're going to be driving at higher speeds, anywhere from 50 miles an hour to 75, maybe even 80 miles an hour if you're in some of the interstates in the southwest of the United States, which is going to be anywhere from kind of 80 kilometers an hour to 120 kilometers an hour. So increase your following distance. If you are on the highway, you are in town, and you are finding yourself touching your brakes all the time because of you're reacting to the vehicles in front of you, I can tell you right now with utmost professional certainty that you are following too close. And I can tell you to count, you know, the stationary object on the side of the road and those types of things. Nobody counts. But I can tell you that you should be using the throttle, controlling speed, and using that to control space between you and other traffic. If you can do that, you are going to be safer, you are going to be smarter, because space is your first line of defense. Space buys you time, time buys you options, and options buy you the smartest choice to prevent a crash. So that's what you need to do. You need to be looking farther down the road, and you need to be asking yourself, how much am I touching the brakes while I'm going up and down the road? Because the only thing that you should be using the brakes for is to bring the vehicle to a stop at an intersection when you're stopped behind other traffic, or if something unexpected happens while you're driving. Otherwise, you should not be touching the brake. If you are touching the brake, you're too close to traffic in front. And I see this all the time, especially on Highway 97 here between Vernon and Kelowna, British Columbia, where I live. The bloody clusters. I don't know what it is about people, and I suspect all the smart drivers here and the smart drivers that are watching on the replay, stay out of the bloody clusters. I don't know what it is about people having to drive together. Are you really that lonely? Are you really that much of a couch potato, an introvert, that when you get in your car, you have to drive 4 feet off the bumper of the 12 other cars that are 4 feet off the bumper in front of that car, and the front of that car, in front of that car, and they're going down the road all together? It's dumb and it's unsafe. Stay out of the clusters. You have to have a 3 to 5 second following distance under ideal conditions. If you want to be with your friends, leave your phone at home and go out to the local pub and have a few beers, okay? Don't be going down the road feeling like you need to have a little group session, okay? Predict road user behaviors. Look for intersections. Intersections are where you're going to get into trouble on highways and roadways, because intersections are where vehicles intersect with other vehicles. If you can scan these intersections, scan the on-ramps and off-ramps, you're going to be safer as you're moving up and down the roadways and up and down the highways. Okay? Speeders. If you're not driving fast or passing other cars, stay out of the left lane. That is for passing cars. And if you're not passing and you're hanging out there, you're not a smart driver. You're the very opposite of what a smart driver is. So, driving too slow. If you're not comfortable driving with the traffic flow and you insist on driving the speed limit, then stay in the right-hand lane. And Tim tells me here that it's called platooning. You don't want to be part of it. I've never heard that term before, but that's a good term. Okay? Shoulder checking. If you're lane changing out on the highway, yes, you have to shoulder check. And the reason that you need space to work in and you're maintaining your 3 to 5 second following distance is so that you can shoulder check and you're not going to be into the back end of the vehicle in front of you. Okay? If you're not, your mirrors will see into the area behind your vehicle, but if you want convex mirrors, that's going to help you out even more. And for those of you who are buying new vehicles or looking at new vehicles, I would strongly encourage you to get blind spot detectors. They're incredibly helpful technologies, but they do not eliminate your need to shoulder check. shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check, and this is going to prevent you getting into a sideswipe crash or having near misses that could potentially cause you to oversteer and lose control of your vehicle at high speeds on highways. Remember, high speeds at highways are not for cornering at 90 degrees. It's going to cause you to lose control of your vehicle. Cruise control on interstates, highways, and multi-lane roads. It will reduce distracted driving because now you're not looking at your speedometer all the time. You're not going to be looking down at your speedometer. You can just know how fast you're going, and it's on cruise control, and it will do that for you. So learn how to use cruise control if you don't know how to use it already. Okay, as well, it will improve overall fuel economy, but first and foremost, it reduces distracted driving while you're on the highways. Okay, roadside assistance, and as Tim just said here, stopping on the freeway is very dangerous. I would actually say it's critical in the kind of the scale of danger. It's in the critical zone because other people don't see you. Other people will drive into the back of you, and there's all kinds of stories of emergency vehicles that are pulled over on the side of the road and they get rear-ended by other vehicles that are not paying attention. People just don't pay attention, especially when they're on the highway. So do not pull over on the side of the road. If you have to pull over on the side of the road because your vehicle broke down or whatnot, your kid in the backseat having explosive diarrhea is not an emergency. It is not a reason for you to pull over on the side of a highway or freeway. If that happens, get up to an off-ramp, get off to an off-ramp, get off at an intersection, someplace like that. But if your vehicle does break down, pull over as far as you can off the side of the road. Make sure you have your cell phone, a cell phone charger in your vehicle so you can call for help. Put the hood up. That indicates to other traffic and other people that your vehicle is broken down. It is the universal sign that your vehicle is broken down. Okay, and we can talk about winter survival. If something happens, you're driving in rural areas and those types of things, and you go off the road and get stuck in snowbanks and whatnot. But we're not going to do that tonight. Corey will put up the video for you on winter survival kit that you should have in your vehicle in the winter time. We can talk a little bit more about that after the presentation, but we did want to talk a little bit about merging on highways as well. Okay, so merging correctly, continuity lines. Continuity lines are usually found on merging lanes. They're half as long and twice as wide as normal road markings, and what it tells you is that the lane that you're in is either going to end or it's going to exit. So if you're on a merging lane and you have continuity lines on your left-hand side, the lane that you're in is going to end. If it's an deceleration lane and an exit off the freeway, the lane is going to exit. So know that. Okay? If you're getting on the merging lane, the mistake that most drivers make when they're merging is they don't pick their gap before they get out onto the on-ramp, and they get on the on-ramp and they panic because they can't find a gap in which to merge. You've made the mistake before you even started getting out on the highway. You've got to find your hole that you're going to merge into, and if you can do that, then you have something to aim for. And if you have something to aim for, it's going to relieve all your anxiety and stress because you can just concentrate on getting on the throttle and looking where you want to go, because if you look where you want to go, the vehicle will go there. How many drivers have I said that to? So know that. And Corey has also put up the videos on how to correctly merge onto freeways, so have a look at those as well. Okay, the deceleration lane. When you're getting off highways and freeways, do not slow down until you are completely in the deceleration lane. That is why it's called a deceleration lane. So know that. Okay, get completely in the deceleration lane and then start slowing down. And you can see here in this image, these are continuity lines here on this where I'm pointing with the cursor. If you can see that, again, continuity lines, half as long, twice as wide, and they say that the lane that you are in, if they're on your left side, is either going to exit or end. So good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. So we'll head back over here, and a few more comments here. What is whatnot? Whatnot, it's kind of like etc., Ben. That's what it means. Samantha, is it possible that the cars won't let you merge on? Samantha, no. Most of the time, they're going to try and help you out. If you know, they will try and help you out, but not always. That's why when you're on the on-ramp and you're looking out onto the acceleration lane, because keep in mind, the acceleration lane and the on-ramp are different pieces of the roadway. The on-ramp's where you get to the acceleration lane. Sometimes if the on-ramp is short, or the acceleration lane is short rather, you're going to have to use some of the on-ramp to start getting your vehicle up to speed. But I know it's intimidating, and I know that most new drivers do not have the experience of putting the throttle right on the floor, the gas pedal, putting it right on the floor. You've got to put it right on the floor, because all modern vehicles are going to get up to 100 kilometers an hour just like that in no time at all. In even the shortest on-ramp, they're going to get up to speed. Now, saying that, there are places in New York State on the parkways, places and other places in the United States, in California and whatnot, where there is going to be a stop sign, which is weird in my mind. And you're going to have to get out on the ramp, and you're going to have to stop, and you're going to have to find a gap and then go. Those exist, but 95% of the time, you're going to have to get on the on-ramp. You're going to have to pick your slot where I'm going. That's where I'm going. And then throttle up and steer and aim for that spot. And that will help you to merge onto the highway. Now, the other thing that I need to try and alleviate some of your anxiety around merging onto highways and freeways, if there's vehicles in front of you and you're merging out onto the highway or freeway, and I've seen this happen a lot, where the platooning, as Tim calls it, or the wolf pack, as it's called, will get in front of you and they're not accelerating up to speed. If that happens, stay back. Double the amount of following space, because I was watching a video from a smart driver here that rear-ended somebody going onto an on-ramp because they were shoulder checking as they were coming out. They didn't have a great deal of experience. They were too close, and they didn't realize that the person in front of them had slammed on the brakes and stopped on the on-ramp, and they rear-ended them. So if you got a wolf pack in front of you, or the cars are platooning up there, hang back, let them get out, and then accelerate up and get up to speed so that you're going to be safe getting out onto the roadway. Now, the last piece that I want to say is that it seems really dangerous merging onto a highway or freeway or an interstate. And it's not, because you're accelerating, and by the time, even if you make a mistake and say that you're doing 40 miles an hour onto a 60 mile an hour freeway, the speed differential between what you're doing and what the cars on the highway are doing is only 20 miles an hour. So it's going to be a minor crash, a sideswipe crash, as opposed to two vehicles that are going at each other at 60 miles an hour. That's 120 miles an hour. So the other piece, and this is the piece that I'm working on for the book that I'm writing, is that it's not speed that causes crashes. It's speed differentials. It's the difference in speed between one road user and another road user. So for example, you're doing 60 miles an hour on a highway and you hit a tree that's going 0 miles per hour. That's a speed differential of 60 miles an hour. If you got one car going this way and one car going this way, that's a speed differential of 120 miles an hour. So it's speed differentials that cause crashes. It's not speed. Don't get me wrong, speed does contribute to the severity of the crash, but it's not the main cause of crashes. The main cause of crashes is speed differentials. So know that, okay? So when you're merging out onto a freeway, it's actually one of the conditions are actually not as bad as you are thinking in your mind, because the speed differential really isn't that high, okay? Reg, thank you so much for the super chat there. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so Ben, floor it when you get on the on-ramp. Please don't stop when getting on the freeway. People, it's dangerous. That's an understatement. I couldn't say it better. Yankee, how often does accidents happen on the freeway due to failure of merging properly? Yankee, a lot less than what you would think. Because again, of that speed differential, it's minor. It's not a huge speed differential. It's not like other types of crashes on roadways and those types of things. So know that you're both going the same way. Actually, freeways are quite safe, and even despite the high speeds, they're quite safe. And if high speeds on highways and freeways was dangerous, we wouldn't have the Autobahn. Okay, everybody in the world would be pointing at the Autobahn. Every traffic safety expert in the world would be pointing at the Autobahn going, look at how dangerous this is. They're not, because it's safe, because all the cars are going the same way and the speed differential is quite low. All right, Pearson, I remember my first time trying to enter the auto route. Almost failed to merge as I was running out of space as a police officer was blocking the end of the lane. I had to slow down enough to slip in. All right, awesome. Well, we're glad to hear you're okay. Ben, are there jerseys like Jim Carrey that drive on freeways, Rick? Not sure about that. I don't know what you're talking about. Pearson ended up basically cutting in front of a semi as a result, but at least I didn't run out of room and get forced to stop. Sometimes the best defense on merging onto a highway or freeway safely is getting your foot into the throttle as fast as you can. Goose, sometimes I wish I had a throttle on my side of the car as a driving instructor. You just tell them to get their foot into the throttle. Go, go, go! Rick, someone almost didn't let me on the freeway. He was doing at least 80 miles an hour. Rick, if they're going that fast, then you just need to merge in behind them instead of in front of them. Okay? All right. Okay, so I need to watch Dumb and Dumber again. It's been a long time since I watched that. Crystal, I finished my new driving book I got for Christmas. Congratulations. Awesome. Any tips on driving in heavy rain on highways and freeways? Christine, yes, slow down. Have your windshield wipers on full. Make sure you have your defrost on as well. That's all going to be needed to be into place. Rick, it's dangerous if people don't know what they're doing driving. Yeah, but Rick, there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to know what they're doing when they're driving. So it's up to you to put in place skills and abilities that are going to keep you safe. And the number one skill and ability that you need to keep yourself safe when you're driving is space in front of your vehicle. You can always control that space in front of your vehicle. So know that for the purposes of driving and driving safely. All right, I want to show you one more thing here. All right, so I got this from a smart driver this week, sent me an email, contributed to the donation over at the Smart Drive Test website for the fuel draw, and was able to help out Renee there in Pittsburgh. She sent me this email, really lovely email. The great care you put into your videos is obvious. The attention to detail and explaining concepts in multiple ways has resonated with me and has helped supplement my in-person driving instructions. I am 24 and was finally confident enough to take the test, and I passed first try. Have already passed your channel along to 2 others. Thank you for all you do. And absolutely incredible email, and I wanted to thank Renee for sending that to me, and as well making a donation. 5 High, thank you for your super chat there as well. That's really great. Thanks, Rick, for your videos. It's helped me tremendously on passing my driver's test. Thank you so much. And 5 High, thank you so much for the super chat there. Really, really awesome. Congratulations on passing your driver's test. I'm so happy to hear that we could help out. That's really, really awesome. So where did you go? What did you do to celebrate your victory of getting your license? Because that's just really incredible. Lamb Sauce, did you hear about the updated version of the G road test in Ontario? They cut some parts to make the test shorter. And yes, I did, Lamb Sauce, and I don't agree with it. Actually, the part that they cut out is the part that they should have left in. They should have left out the on-road part and actually got drivers to do an in-parking lot course where they had them parallel park in a parking lot and do 2-point reverse turns and those types of things. That's a better test of drivers' abilities who are getting their full license, because almost any driver, I could pull almost any driver off the road and they could go up and down the road just fine. But try and get them to do slow speed maneuvers, that is a whole different scenario for drivers who have a bit of experience. So that's what I should have thought. That's what I thought. I thought they should be focusing on the slow speed maneuvers, just doing them in the parking lot, and then the test would have been 5 or 10 minutes, and they'd be done with it. They wouldn't have to take them out on the roadway. Christine, is it okay to go into the shoulder lane when trying to merge and there's not a safe gap? Christine, no, it's not. No. No. You need to get on the on-ramp, pick your spot, accelerate up to speed, and go. And be confident and do it. And if you're not comfortable, work with a driving instructor. Work with somebody who has some experience doing this that can help you out with all of that. All right, Matt, we're supposed to get 15 inches of snow in Niagara Falls. I don't know why I'm so nervous about driving this truck in the snow. First time having to do this. Matt, what kind of truck is it? Is it just like a normal pickup truck, or is it a 4x4? Does it have 4x4 on it and those types of things? Evan, on a divided highway, if you see any vehicle riding up the barrier, it'll fail and end up perpendicular to you. I learned that when watching video Idiots in Cars number 3. Okay, I haven't seen that, but that's a possibility. Christine, you're most welcome. I don't think I have a video for everything yet, but we're working on that for sure. Mallory, I haven't forgotten about you in terms of slip lanes. What happens to driver's test if you make a wrong turn? Mallory, I think what you're talking about is if the driving examiner gives you an instruction and you go the other way, for example, you're not going to fail for that. It's up to the examiner to kind of get you back and around. If you do it 4 or 5 times on a driver's test, then yes. But if you do it once, maybe twice, that's not going to happen to you at all. Nothing's going to happen. They're just going to have to get you turned around and back to where you need to go. Excuse me. Ben, I'm rock at slow speed maneuvers. I practice at church when I could. You said they're not sexy either. Definitely not sexy, Ben. Jason, I failed my road test for poor judgment. What's that mean? Jason, I think that what that means is that you were actually overcautious on your driver's test and you weren't going when you should have been going because you didn't really understand gap and those types of things. I might suggest, encourage you to take a lesson with a driving instructor and get some feedback from him or her, and they'll be able to help you out to get ready to pass your driver's test there. Mallory, how far is Kelowna from where I live? It's about 40 minutes from where I live up the highway. Straight south from here. Naaman, his driving test in Nova Scotia is tough as Ontario. I think that the driving tests in Canada as a rule are more or less the same. There isn't one that's a lot tougher than another. It kind of depends, and then it kind of depends on the individual test centers. Tim, my friend, have a great night. Enjoy your dinner. We'll talk to you next week, my friend. Pearson, when I learned in Montreal, we don't have the option of bailing into the shoulder. If you fail to merge, you either enter, fall off the bridge, or slam into the wall on most ramps. Yeah, and it's the same thing. You got to commit. You got to go and do it. And if you're not comfortable, you have anxiety around it, go with somebody that you trust, somebody that can help you with that. And usually it's going to be a driving instructor that's going to give you the best instruction on how to merge out onto the freeway safely. And it's a little, think of merging onto highways and freeways, and I know there's a lot of anxiety around this. Think of it like the first time that you use roundabouts. Roundabouts are a little bit tricky because when you're coming up to a roundabout, you got to be ready to stop and go kind of at the same time. There's no stopping with merging onto a freeway. There's no stopping. You got to go. You got to commit. It's 100%. You're either in or you're not. There's no not. You just do it. Naaman, snow in Nova Scotia. Yeah, but you could get snow anywhere. I mean, as they just said, they're getting 25 inches or 15 inches, I think it was, in Niagara Falls there. So they get snow there as well. Lamsaw says, the G2 test I did in October had parallel parking between cones. That's really the only slow speed maneuver I had to do when the road is a bit in Brampton, Ontario. And yeah, that's what I said. I mean, really, there's a couple of things that they could do as slow speed maneuvers, and I think it's a much better criteria for judging whether a driver is ready to go out on the roads and those types of things, because anybody can point a vehicle straight down the road and go down the road and stop at intersections and those types of things, but not everybody can do slow speed maneuvers. And I am personally convinced that slow speed maneuvers make better drivers for sure. Pooja, I have thousands of hours experience behind the wheel, but I failed twice. Pooja, you're still going to be able to do it. Just focus in on the mistakes that the driving or the feedback that the driving examiner gave you. Maybe take a lesson with a driving instructor, and they'll be able to help you out. Chris, I hit a curb on my driving test, but the instructor still gave me a pass. Chris, did you hit the curb or did you touch the curb? Because if you just touch the curb, that's fine. That's not a fail. Ben, we have road course, not on actual roads too. Yeah, and there's lots of places, Ben, in not just in Minnesota, but other places in the United States where they have parking lot courses. Like it's a full kind of mini course setup that they test drivers on for their driver's test. Bluffer, an idea for those who are nervous merging? Go when there's less traffic, get the hang of it. And yes, exactly what Bluffer just said. When there's low density traffic early in the morning, later in the evening, go then when there's not a lot of traffic. And that's going to give you the experience and the confidence that you need to be able to start merging when traffic gets heavier and heavier, okay? Mallory asks driving questions because I enjoy learning even though I can't see to drive. I enjoy learning the skills and techniques needed for driving thanks to your channel, and you are most welcome, my friend. Matt, forgive my ignorance, but what is a G2 test? Okay, so Matt, the GLP in the province of Ontario, Canada, graduated licensing program consists of a G2, so you have a G1, G2, and a full G license. The G1 is the learners. The G2 is the first test to get your novice license, and then the G is the full license. So the G2 is just the first driver's test to get your license to be able to drive on your own. It's basically the probationary license there in the province of Ontario. Ben, have a good night, my friend. One of the other things that I wanted to ask smart drivers now and on the channel, and those watching on the replay, I haven't mentioned this, but I am working on a book right now called The Psychology of Driving. One of the chapters in the book is death and driving. I want to look at what people's perception of car crashes and dying in a car crash. Not, it's not morbid kind of thing, but the unfortunate reality is that people do die in car crashes. Here, south of us in Vernon, you go up over a hill. The dump is at the top of the hill. You got to go off the road and up to the dump. But then farther down is a kind of a golf community that they built years ago called Predator Ridge. And at that intersection, going up to Predator Ridge, up on kind of the hill off the side of the road, there are 3 roadside memorials where people were killed. So far, the information that I've gotten is it's kind of 2004. And roadside memorials are something that have appeared on our driving landscape in kind of the last 25 years. So if you know of or you have any roadside memorials that you know the story behind where people were killed in a crash, can you send me that information at my website or my email, rick@smartdrivetest.com. I'd be really fascinated if I don't know if anybody watching here on the channel or anybody watching on the replay might know the information about the Predator Ridge crash that happened here south of Vernon. That would be really extremely helpful, and as well it would contribute to the book. And I'll give you a little footnote saying thank you for this help. So if you know of any roadside memorials, any crashes where people were killed, and you know the date, and I can kind of find the information in a newspaper report or Google it or something like that, that would be really, really helpful for the book I'm working on and for that chapter on the psychology of people's perception of death and driving and crashing and those types of things. I haven't got it all figured out yet, but that's kind of my thinking at this juncture. And this crash that happened south of here at Predator Ridge, one of my students, actually, when I was teaching driving here in Vernon, we drove past it one day and he kind of pointed up on the hill and, kind of made the cross sign. and kind of thought about it the other day and drove by. I went up and actually took some pictures. I might post it on the community tab here, just asking people for information about memorial road signs and those types of things. 5 high, unless road conditions are bad and you have to drive slow. Okay, so that's another conversation I jumped into. Epic, well said, Rick. And for the learner driver, old freeways are hard. Yes, the older freeways, Epic, and as well some of the parkways, because they don't have on-ramps, as I found out in my recent trip last October down to New York State. So that's the other thing about all of that. Okay. Excellent. Mallory's here. So I wanted to talk about that and just indicate to you that, in fact, I was working on the book, and that's one of the other things that I'm doing. My 2 focuses this year, I've been kind of going over not sort of the New Year's resolution, but kind of what's happening here at Smart Drive Test this year is, I'm building a team of people. I have an assistant, and this week I'm going to release animations. I'm doing animations for the shorts. The other thing that's happening here, as some of you know, is that I'm doing 1 short a day for a year as kind of a test. And I started on the 25th of October. I've only missed 2 over Christmas, and I'll get those caught up. But that's basically what's going on here at Smart Drive Test with the videos, with the channel, with the website, all of those types of things, and helping you out to pass your driver's test, empowerment, achievement, and success. That's the 3 words of what we're doing here. So, Exile, your wisdom, my practice in virtual reality driving simulators games helped me pass my test. Thank you so much. Exile, thank you so much for dropping back and letting us know. That's awesome. Rocco, has anyone experienced a lot of homeless people wandering around in this road? Whenever I go drive, there seems to be a homeless walking out in front of my car. You're in San Diego. Rocco, I'm not sure what that's about. We have it here in Vernon as well. We have a section of town where we have a lot of transient population, especially in the summertime, with their shopping carts and their bicycles and those types of things. So this is another hazard that we're now dealing with on roadways, because they don't seem to be crossing at intersections or crosswalks as they should, which of course creates a danger and a hazard for the driving public and for everybody who's using the road for that and those types of things. Okay, Pearson. Okay, you're responding to somebody else. Tyler, I've seen people turn right from the left lane. Is scary. Yeah, some of the crazy things that people do. King Boy says he deals with that every day. Goose, Rick, your short YouTube vids are absolutely amazing. I don't know how you do it. I'm still learning how to edit. Goose, somebody said this. Oh, I know what happened. Somebody on Facebook who I helped get a driver's license in 2017 asked me some questions. I actually remember their name, their username, and they came back and said thanks and they Happy New Year, wished me Happy New Year and those types of things. 2017. The thing that's crazy is that 2017 was 5 years ago. I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that 2017 was 5 years ago. As you know, Goose, editing is like learning to drive. It's just something that takes a lot of time. And, I already had a lot of editing experience when I came to shorts, but there was still a lot of things that I had to learn with shorts. And actually, I've become a better editor and better at shooting videos by shooting shorts. So, I'm still trying to figure it out. And I've had some success on TikTok. Not as much as I would like, but I've had some success. And if any of the smart drivers here watching now on the live stream or watching on the replay, if you have any suggestions for topics that you want me to do with YouTube Shorts and those types of things. But like I said, I've hired a video animator. We've got one in the box that is absolutely terrific. I was so impressed with Evan's work on the animation. And, I just got to get some stuff storyboarded for him and send it off to him to do some more animation. But I think that is going to be a very powerful tool for some of the videos moving forward. So really great. Epic also found some driving schools actually use a commercial driving simulator complete with controls for a car or semi-truck. One of those is actually located in Linden, New Jersey. And they have a purpose. I you know, there's nothing to replace actually really getting in behind the wheel and driving a vehicle. I'm not sure how good simulators are, for sure. I mean, they're not the same as they are for planes and whatnot, but they're definitely out there. Goose, my gosh, yes, shooting and editing is a lot of fun, but what a learning curve. That's an understatement, Goose. And I actually remember when I switched from, because I started with iMovie, and then I went to ScreenFlow, and now I'm using Final Cut Pro, and I thought, you know, I'd already used 2 other video editing software, and I thought going to Final Cut Pro wasn't going to be a big deal, but let me tell you, woo! Final Cut Pro was a big learning curve, but it's a very powerful piece of software that allows me to do a lot of stuff with the editing. Tyler, this is going to be a full-length video when the weather gets better. Tyler, I'm still doing a full-length video every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there's still a full-length video every week. And the other thing that we're going to be focusing on this year is we're going to be moving into the CDL stuff. So the commercial driver's license, truck driving, and bus driving. That's what's going to be the focus. I just need to get myself sorted out here for the end of the month, and we'll be moving into that. So there's still a full-length video every Wednesday going up on the channel, for sure. Pooja, tip and trick to pass road test, please. I know very well about driving, but when with the instructor I mess up. Pooja, what's the feedback that you're getting from the examiners? Sandro, hello, my friend. Thanks for tuning in from Brazil. That's really awesome, incredible. Goose, Final Cut Pro, I'm using OpenShot for now. Goose, not sure what OpenShot is. I'll have a look at that for you, though. I'm still meaning to get back to you. It's just been kind of a busy, crazy week, but I'll definitely... It's on my list. You're on my list. Mallory, also enjoy your short videos, and I watch them every day. After all, I like to learn about driving. Thank you so much, Mallory, for the encouragement. That's really great and awesome. And I think... We're still going here. Okay. Tips and techniques and tricks to pass your driver's test. Corey, the other thing for Pooja as well, put up the 2 video links for automatic fails and the top 10 most common errors on a driver's test. And I think those 3 videos will really help her out in terms of passing her driver's test. Okay. Sandro, that's awesome that you're tuning in from Brazil. Really great. Okay, we're getting near the top of the hour. Again, if you have any topic suggestions for shorts, you have any topic suggestions for videos that you want to see, or something's just not here on the channel, something needs to be reshot or whatnot, let us know. I do apologize for the technical difficulties we had at the beginning. Oh, there was one other thing that I wanted to show you here. Just bear with me. This. And I was not going to blur out the name of the company on this truck. This truck stopped behind this pickup truck in front of it, and I bet you there's 3 feet between the bumper and the front of this tractor trailer and this pickup truck. If that was one of my students, I wouldn't cuff him on the back of the head. I'd probably hit him with a shovel. All right, so if tractor trailers are doing this, they really should not be doing this. This is too close. And I know that every now and again as a truck driver, they make mistakes or they got distracted and they stopped too close. But I know a lot of guys who do this and simply don't do this. It's too close. It's too dangerous. Okay, excellent. And Tyler said it's good short how to check your engine oil level. And that is, you're absolutely right, Tyler. Actually, I was actually thinking about that today because... how to check the oil in my Honda is very different than it is checking it in Tracy's S4 Audi. In the S4 Audi, it actually doesn't have a dipstick, so you have to go into the control panel inside the vehicle. Mallory says she really enjoys editing her videos for her channel. I learned a lot since I started making YouTube videos, and yes, there is definitely a big learning curve for sure. Harpreet, what happens if there is snowfall on the day of the driving test? Harpreet, you just got to deal with it. Know that most of the main roads are going to be cleared, well plowed, well sanded, looked after. It's going to be a little dicey when you get into the residential streets and those types of things, but you're going to be just fine. If there's a great deal of snow, they'll postpone the driver's test for sure. Okay? Goose, good night, my friend. DC, Rick, how many kilometers on your buggy? Maybe you could do shorts on quick tips to maintain your car. Yes, that's another great tip. Thank you, DC. Just turned over 364,000 kilometers, which is about 220,000 miles. So it's doing all right. It's doing all right. All right, so we're going to leave it there for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Apologies about the technical glitches we were having at the beginning there. As I said, YouTube kind of changed the interface on us. So, all the best. If you passed your driver's test in the last couple of weeks, congratulations. Simply awesome. And if you have a driver's test coming up in the next week or so, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.